this is Dr. Madiha Saeed, board certified integrative holistic family physician, coming to you live on this beautiful Thursday. I hope it's a little bit warmer where you are. It was snowing this morning, so I know this is crazy, right? But the thing is, I'm so glad that you can join us today. We are going to continue what we normally talk about every Thursdays, and that is the factors of inflammation. Yeah, all of the stuff that I have going on back here. So no matter what, recap, I always recap at the beginning, so for any new followers. So to recap, your chronic symptoms, either they be fatigue, irritability, digestive complaints, problems with autoimmunity, or like thyroid issues, rheumatoid arthritis, all of those amazing... Hi, Natalie. All of those, like those really, really difficult, like autoimmune conditions, cancers, rashes, eczema, joint pain, deficit, basically, those are just your body telling you that it's off balanced. And doctors all know that the root cause is inflammation, right? Inflammation. So, what I try to do is to make sure that we can lower the inflammation, because guess what? When you lower inflammation, you can heal not one symptom, but then all of them simultaneously. Isn't that crazy? So we're going to go ahead and quickly just recap. I fell on my keyboard here. We're going to go ahead and recap that, and I'll show you the poster board that I made. It's really exciting stuff. Okay, let me show you, because I love visuals, right? Visuals. Let's try to see if I can pull that back a little bit so you guys can get a view. I'll pull it up. So, see how sad she is? She's very sad. So basically, because she has this chronic inflammation inside of her body that's leading to her chronic conditions. I know it's backwards, you guys, sorry. And so deficits in your digestive health and detoxification, the 4S's, stress, sleep, social, and spiritual health, deficits in any of that can lead to inflammation that can cause your chronic symptoms. It's really that simple. I know I talk about it over and over and over, but I've had people with severely, like, rare autoimmune conditions all gone. And so since then, I just keep on doing it because it seems like it's working for 99% of the population. And these are simple things that you can easily incorporate into your daily lifestyle that you can then, just by incorporating those things into your daily lifestyle, you can lower inflammation and help to heal chronic disease. Mwah! Love you too, SK. So it's really that simple. So let's go through those really quickly. So we talked about, and I also have them in my book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease, right? So here we have it. It's on page, I think it was, here we go. Yeah, 9, right? It's right there. So quickly, so I always start all my patients with my friends, my family, my children, all start off with gratitude. Hi, you guys. Thank you guys all for the heart love. Thank you. And so I have them start off with positivity and gratitude. So every morning when they wake up, say 10 things that you're going to be thankful for. That's so simple. But it changes your subconscious to it, instead of immediately thinking negative, to think positive. And that in and of itself is lower inflammatory markers. I know, right? It's like the cheapest, easiest thing to do to lower inflammation, right? Then we have is social health. Social health is really awesome because of the fact that you want to keep people around that are going to lift you up, not drag you down, right? And that in and of itself lowers inflammation. Sleep, right? Because honestly, sleep, you can really heal in your sleep, because when you're sleeping, then you're not really, you have more energy to do things like make hormones, lower inflammation, detox, all that amazing stuff while you sleep. Stress, incorporate a regular mind-body technique into your daily routine. Amazing. In my and in my house, we do like meditation, yoga. My 5-year-old actually came home from preschool today and showed me his yoga moves. So it was really cute, actually. Maybe I'll post some of those later on. It's really funny if I can get him to do it again. And then we have detoxification to make sure that your surroundings in, on, and around you are as clean as possible. Then we have is nutrition. This is amazing because nutrition and gut are hand in hand. And that's something that we've been actually talking about, is because 70 to 80% of your immune system lies in the gut. Do you see how sad? Look how sad the poor little gut is right now. So sad, so sad. But so what we need to do is we need to make him happy. And how? Because of the fact that we have this entire world inside of our gut. It's called the microbiome. And if we give it artificial foods, chronic stress, artificial, like it just toxins and around us, where we use chemical cleaners, they also, yes, they kill 90% of the bacteria outside, 90% of the 99% of the bacteria, but guess what? It also kills the microbiome. So we want to try to keep as natural as possible. But because we're not, and we're living in such a contaminated world with so many toxins, and then also putting lots of processed foods in our body, it starts to kill off the microbiome. And that microbiome, which is basically all of the gut bacteria, are known as the microbiome. Let me get to that picture. See? Look how sad. Look at that. So good bacteria versus bad bacteria. The more good, you're happy and healthy. Less good, because of all these toxins, you're sicker. And there's fire. This fire develops. And this fire, if it goes to your joints, it can cause rheumatoid arthritis or just arthritis. If it goes to your skin, it can cause eczema. If it goes to your brain, it can cause depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, autism. If it goes to your digestion, it can cause constipation, diarrhea, IBS. If it goes to your thyroid, it can cause autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, and then all other autoimmune conditions. And then along with if it goes all over again, chronic inflammation for a very long time can also lead to cancers. So we really need to keep chronic inflammation as low as possible to help heal and prevent chronic illness, right? And making sure that we stay as healthy as possible. Woo-hoo! Yay, yay, yay! Okay, sorry. This is me fasting, by the way. So can you imagine the energy if I would have... So this is exciting stuff. So then what we're going to do, so we talked about in order to heal the gut, you got to remove those foods first, replace with key nutrients like vegetables, protein, healthy fats, replenish the gut bacteria with prebiotics and probiotics, and then we have to repair the gut lining with bone broth. I got some stewing upstairs. And then we also want to make sure we rebalance. And rebalancing is so important. So important, right? So we have been talking about, we talked about that whenever we want to put food in our body, we want to make sure that it fits 3 criteria. It heals the gut, balances our hormone, insulin, glucose levels, and is the most nutrient-dense foods for you. So in previous Facebook Lives, we've been talking about your vegetables, protein, healthy fats, how they should be incorporated in every single solitary meal. And then we have, so for vegetables, we talked about that. Vegetables, protein, healthy fats. And then now we talked about drinks in the last one, like what you could drink. Right, not that type of drink. So get mine out of the gutter. No. Not that. We don't want that every day. So we want to make sure we just have tons of water regularly. That's what we need to have regularly. And then now we're going to talk about something that, when people come to me, they're like, oh no, you got me off of sugar. What about my fruit intake? Right? And that's something that I say, right, everything in moderation, specifically for that, in moderation. Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. So because fruit, actually, and that too, I only do fruit after a vegetable, protein, and healthy fat. And if my kids or my family is still hungry, my patients are still hungry, because it's like a nice little dessert, right? Because it's nice and sweet. So, and specifically choosing lower glycemic fruits is the best. And that too, your oranges, your peaches, all those. The higher glycemic ones are like the grapes and the bananas, which my kids do. Like, for example, I'll do, if I'm in a rush, I'll do a banana boat for them for breakfast. I'll load it up with a lot of nut butter. So remember, we have to have your protein, and then they'll have some sauerkraut. So they have to have that all together. That's like their breakfast in the morning. And that's like the quickest, easiest, fastest way to get breakfast in them. That'll satiate them and keep them energized for the rest of the day. But again, that's not something that we do regularly. And all of that glycemic index, so there's something called a glycemic load and a glycemic index. So basically they're both, to cut the small story short, basically it's how high they raise your insulin levels and glucose levels, right? And so for example, the glycemic load of all the processed foods is a lot more, like literally if you see the scale, it's a lot more, it's higher, and it raises your insulin level higher and your glucose level higher and all that stuff higher versus, your non-processed foods. So it still raises your blood sugar a little bit less so than all the other stuff because of the fiber and all that amazing things that are in it. But it's still something to watch out for. So you just don't want to overdo it, just like with everything else. And so for snacking, again, even for snacking, an apple with peanut butter. So again, you always want to make sure you put your fruit with your protein, vegetable. So Lisa said, is this amazing? Yes, Lisa, it's all in here. You haven't gotten one yet? Come on, Lisa. I'm kidding. And so, it's all in here. We talk about it in here. But specifically the ones that you really want to make sure, I tell my patients to really keep inflammation at bay. You want to shoot for at least, half a cup to 1 cup of low glycemic fruits like berries, oranges, cantaloupes, apples, peaches, plums, pomegranate, kiwis, even watermelon, because it's mostly water. But that you want to at least limit to that. Have a little bit after each meal, whatever it is, just a little bit. And then specifically, like I love berries. And you can even get them at wholesalers for super, super cheap. Like I can buy for $10, I can buy a 3-pound bag of frozen berries at a wholesaler. Isn't that crazy? So that's why you can totally, and it's frozen and it's organic and it's delicious. I use it for my smoothies. All those amazing, because they are full of antioxidants, right? And what are antioxidants? They help to prevent toxins from damaging the body, right? They also tons and tons of have something called gallic acid that helps to protect the brain from inflammation, oxidative stress, and cancer. It supports the heart health, digestion, and controls appetite, promotes weight loss. In my family, we love pomegranate seeds. My kids will literally eat the entire thing if I let them, if I don't give them their vegetable protein, healthy fats first. But having a little bit of pomegranate, and because pomegranate seeds are also really high antioxidants, also heal from the body inside and out. They're also anti-carcinogenic. They reduce arthritis, joint pain, are cardioprotective, lower blood pressure. Seriously, there are so many amazing benefits of every single fruit out there that to make sure that it should be included into your regular day, unless you are really suffering from being overweight or if you're suffering from diabetes, then I wouldn't do too much of it, and depending on what specific in your individual needs. But really just focusing on vegetables, protein, healthy fats, having a little bit of fruit as dessert goes a long, long way. Because I know I talked about all of the amazing benefits of fruit, right? But you just don't want to do only fruit also. Because I've had some patients that are like, it's like a fruitarian diet. I just eat only fruits, right? Because even on these type of diets, you can still gain weight. You can still become pre-diabetic because of the fact that it's still pretty sugary and it's still fructose, right? And that then causes you to gain weight. it can cause problems. It doesn't have that much protein in it. It doesn't have that much. There's zero good fats in any of that. Except for, like, for example, we want to make sure that you have really good fats at every meal. But the thing is, but if you really need to, because fruit still has tons of B vitamins and it's high in vitamin D and actually no, sorry, there are no fruit that is high in vitamin D. Sorry. So this is why we really got to make sure that you incorporate some sort of other things in there, because again, if you just ate fruit, you would be missing out on tons of nutritional values. Plus, on top of that, we talked about the blood sugar levels, and specifically somebody who's pre-diabetic or diabetic and struggling with blood sugar balance. It does sort of unstabilize your insulin levels. So we want to make sure to keep it balanced. So depending on if you're a diabetic or if you're pre-diabetic, we really want to make sure to keep your fruit limited. Because that can also even cause tooth decay. So there's a lot of things that can come from eating fruit constantly. And again, everything in moderation, a little bit goes a long way depending on your individual need. It really helps. So please let me know if you guys have any questions. I saw lots of questions scroll down here. I'm here with you guys for another couple minutes. So please ask me questions. I'm here. I'm a board certified family physician. I have the best of both worlds. I'm the author of The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. Yes, it's quite. So I've done my research so I can help you guys. And that's literally my passion, is to make sure that you guys get back in charge of your own health. So let's go through Mitra. I hope I said that right. Hi. I'm 2 months postpartum. Oh, yay! Good girl. Congratulations. Any fruit that can help you increase my milk supply? Well, they're not specifically fruit, but remember, as long as you're drinking well, there are some really, really great, like fenugreek and all these other spices that can help to increase it. I just did them in teas. There was lots of teas that will help the mother's milk. But the thing is, I've been there, done that. I literally just stopped breastfeeding. I breastfed for 5 years almost straight, besides where I took a 4-month hiatus in the middle before my last one showed up. So I know that. And then that too with 4 kids. So I nursed every single one of them. I was very fortunate to do so. So the ones that with my first one I had a really hard time producing. But as long as I just kept on pumping, that was the best thing for me. I know, just keep the lanolin or, anything just to keep it around you, because it is painful, but it is the best thing for the baby. So let's go through that some more. Thank you for your energy, Kathy. I know I'm trying to just spread this knowledge as much as possible, because there's so many people that need hope, that need hope. Right? Because they're just looking for another way, but then conventional medicine, we're not taught all of that, right? So it's really important to help spread this message. So Kathy, red inflamed skin, yes. Okay, so my favorite patient slash friend now had a condition. Actually, I saw her in December, at the end of December, right? And it was just literally coincidence, not a coincidence, a miracle, so to speak, that I met her, because she's been somebody that I've been following for a while, and I heard her speak, and she was talking about her red inflamed skin, that her body burned all day long. She had a condition called pityriasis rubia pilaris. It's a very, if you guys Google it, it's really scary. It's really it's just debilitating disease. And we were able to put her on literally all I did. So now she's currently almost she's improving day by day, to the point where I don't see it on her hands anymore, her face anymore. It was really all over her bodies. And she's a superstar for doing that. But really what I did with her was we did initial laboratory work to make sure she was not deficient in anything. Took away all grains, all dairy, all sugar, all processed foods. Really helped putting her on a more of like a GAPS type diet without dairy. So GAPS diet is like a boot camp for your gut. And what I do for that one is usually GAPS diet has a lot of dairy, has some dairy in it. So I have my patients start no dairy GAPS diet. And then check deficiencies. She was vitamin D deficient. We check, B12. We optimize magnesium, started fish oil, probiotics. And she said when she first started the GAPS diet, or the diet without the dairy, in 1 week, the burning that she's had for like months, she was on Humira, methotrexate, and steroids, was gone. And that's the kind of stuff. I've had people with severe eczema. One of my initial patients had severe eczema for the last, she was 21 years old when I first initially saw her. And she said she basically came out of the mother's hoo-ha like that. And that's so sad because that's something like she tried to commit suicide 3 times because of the burning, because she had to literally sit in a bath all day long. So it's a miserable, miserable, miserable condition. And she's one of the reasons that I actually started writing this, because after 1 week on this diet, she looked at me and she was like, where were you all my life? Because she had no more burning. The burning that she tried to take her life because of was gone literally in a week of something that she was dealing with for so long. So specifically with red and inflamed skin, again, vegetables, protein, healthy fats. If you're really severe, go back. I might put my patients on the GAPS introduction diet with, without dairy. Making sure their deficiencies are optimal, making sure there's nothing else going on. So I hope that answers your question. Kathy, if you have any other questions, I'm here for you. Melissa says, I have psoriasis. What do you recommend? Same stuff. I know it's the same thing over and over and over, but I've been doing this now for almost 9 years. I know, almost 9 years. And I have 100% success. I've had people with psoriasis. I had one patient, multiple patients actually, with psoriasis. And 50 years of psoriasis, she was a 70-year-old with 50 years of psoriasis, all gone in 4 weeks. One of my initial patients that had the myasthenia gravis, psoriasis, lichen planus, Sjogren's, Hashimoto's, she also had psoriasis, I believe. It was all gone. So all these patients have had psoriasis, one of those that are so easy to treat. Specifically, I found the best success with the diet to help heal the psoriasis. So I hope that helped Melissa. Maimuna said best foods for improving skin and helping muscle aches. So again, all type of fruit will help too, because they're all antioxidants. They help give your body the nutrition that it needs for those deficiencies that you may be leading to your skin issues and muscle aches. But specifically, the patients with muscle aches really get resolved. Again, just by following vegetables, protein, healthy fats, removing all those other foods from the diet that can cause inflammation. And specifically, a lot of my patients, especially with muscle pains, do really well with magnesium. I have my patients start about 400 milligrams per day. Again, you always talk to your doctor before doing any of these recommendations. But specifically, this is what I normally do with my patients is 400 milligrams per day, have them start fish oil, optimize their vitamin D, and usually, again, nobody comes back with muscle aches anymore. So, over 9 years. So I'm telling you guys, this is that simple. And that's why I keep on reiterating it over and over and over, because it's just so, so easy. Now, Zainab says, if one becomes pre-diabetic and loves fruit, what should their course be? So, if you are pre-diabetic, I would remove all my patients. Again, I get no grains, no dairy, no sugar, no processed foods. So then, depending on depending on how you're feeling and what your symptoms are or where it is, a little bit is okay. Very small amount of the low glycemic fruits if you're pre-diabetic. But you gotta remove all the dairy, all the grains, all the sugar, all the processed foods. Why? Because the fact that those raise your insulin level a lot higher than the fruit did. They have a higher glycemic load. So we just want to make sure you take those foods away first, and then obviously I can't completely deprive you because that's life, and you don't want to be bored to death, and you want to make sure. Again, that depends. Again, everybody's different individual needs, depending on how severe your insulin resistance is, right? Or insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, or even if you're diabetic. My father-in-law, that's another example for it gives you guys hope. My father-in-law was on 30 units of insulin when he came to me. So they've been living with me now for 2 years. He was on 30 units of insulin. He currently, all we did was really limit the grains. He no longer eats the roti that he did. And then, and then he's limited his grains to almost nothing. Occasionally, once in a while, he'll have some. But specifically, just tons of vegetables, protein, healthy fats, making sure that he's intermittent fasting every day. All of those, and then he does have a little bit of fruit, especially if he's having if he's not having any other carb with dessert. And now you guys have to remember, this is he's had a 30-year history of diabetes. No longer has those issues anymore. He's only taking metformin once in a while, or he's cut it down to really low. So do you see how much hope that is for somebody and he himself is a physician. Isn't that crazy? So you think that literally when you say you're diabetic, and let's say you're diabetic, your doctors are going to say, sorry, you're going to be diabetic for the rest of your life. You don't have to be. And I now have a living proof. And that too, he was born and raised in Pakistan. He's been practicing in Pakistan. So anybody can make these changes, you guys. You just got to have that power, the willpower. And I'm here on your side to do that. So I hope that answered a little bit of questions. So because everybody's a little different, if you get the vegetables, protein, healthy fats out of your vegetable, protein, healthy fats, concentrate on those foods, get the no grains, no dairy, no sugar, no processed foods out, then you're able to still have a little bit of fruit. So then we have is the low glycemic fruits. Kathy, yes, you're welcome, Kathy. I would like to buy your book. Where is it available? Thank you. It's on Amazon. It's also in all the libraries in the country. But I've gone through in a little bit detail about every single solitary condition. So it's one of those books that, remember, I'm a bargain shopper. So if I was ever going to buy a book, I want to make sure that that it's worth the biggest bang for my buck. So I think you'll enjoy it. Joining late, fruit is good for arthritis and Hashimoto's. So yes, fruit has tons of antioxidants, right? And what are antioxidants? They help prevent toxins from damaging the body. And they have tons of amazing all these amazing properties that will help to lower inflammation. But again, key is moderation. And that too, in my family, my kids don't do rice, they don't do grains, they don't do sugar, they don't do processed foods, they don't do any of that. Because I realize when they do the rice or they do the breads and the pastas, then they don't eat their vegetables. So for me, fruit is lower on the list, and vegetables, every meal has to have vegetables. It's good for every organ of the body, and it's amazing. My sister-in-law is joining me. Mwah! I love you, Sadaf. Making lamb chops and sauteed spinach. I'm coming over right now. Too bad I'm 2 hours away. I would be coming over because I'm fasting, so that tastes delicious. You can't do that to me. I'm drooling here already. No. So it's amazing. So again, vegetables, protein, healthy fats. Limit the grains, dairy, sugar, processed foods. Make sure that they have vegetables at every meal. I cannot stress that enough. And then, and only then, after that, if they are still hungry, my kids either choose a fruit to snack on, or they choose one of the baked goods that I made, right, with almond flour. So I hope that helps. Melissa says, when cutting off sugar, should you cut it all, or can you have the natural sugar? So sugar, you want to just make sure you have not the no toxic sugar, right? But in my family, for example, literally my kids so I started this Facebook Live at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I brought the kids home from school at 4:45. So, right? That's when I literally walked into the door. I quickly, in 15 minutes, I popped a cake in the oven, and immediately I popped a cake in the oven, and then in the next 20 minutes, it was done. And now I have a pineapple upside down cake ready for them. So, and that too, it's literally just almonds, eggs, some sort of oil, ghee or coconut oil is what I like to use. Coconut oil, and then pineapple, right? And honey, like half a cup of honey. So we're still having the sugar, right? And you're still satiating that sugar craving. But guess what? Everything that you're giving them is so nutrient dense. They're not going to eat the entire thing, right? And that is what is so amazing, is that when you give them nutrient dense foods, and even though it has a little bit of honey in it, right? The entire pan has a half a cup of honey. And then I put some pineapple pieces in the middle. So after my kids' vegetables, protein, healthy fats, I make sure that they have tons and tons of, not tons and tons of the water. Make sure that before the meal or after, but not usually with the meal, but usually there. But specifically, then they have a little bit of, either they can have their fruit, or they can have their pineapple upside down cake. I know they were waiting for that. So they had their chili, their broth, their sauerkraut right now. And they're like, Mom, I had my vegetable protein and healthy fat. Can I please now have some pineapple cake? So that's what they're snacking on upstairs before. That's why it's so quiet. Kidding. So Zainab says, us desis with our rotis and rice. Yeah. And this is what, so a lot of people have this misconception that this type of lifestyle is expensive. It's not going to keep you full, that it's unaffordable, right? And unmanageable. So what is so amazing is that when you give your body the nutrient-dense foods that it needs, you're cooking less. And on top of that, this is one thing that I talk to all my patients about, all my families about, is that when you go to your restaurant, what is the first thing they give you? Like a fancy restaurant, right? What is the first thing they give you? Bread. Why do they give you bread? Right? It's because of the fact that bread and all these processed carbs, yes, Zainab, right? They give you processed carbs, some sort of processed carb. And all these processed carbs go into your brain and inhibit a hormone called leptin. Leptin is for satiation, right? It tells you that, oh, I am full. But if it inhibits leptin, guess what? You don't know when you're full. So that's what happens with roti, which is known as naan, or all these processed breads, or even tons of white rice. What does it do? Because it's all still who can eat an entire plate full of brown rice? That's a little bit harder to do than white rice, because the more processing that it has, the more it goes to your brain and tells you that, you know what, I'm still not full. I'm going to keep on eating. So this is where it's so important to have less processed foods, and the rice and the bread, all of that actually, because the more processed foods that you eat more of, right? Because you inhibit your leptin, and more often, and you can't stop. And that's basically all these processed foods are leading to us being food addicts. Isn't that crazy? We are becoming addicted to food because of all this food additives that's in it. So usually bread is not just bread, right? It's not just, unless you sit there and grain it yourself. But specifically, all these processed foods inhibit leptin that make you keep on eating. So you spend more, you eat more, and then you are also, because your body's not getting the nutrient-dense foods it needs, you're hungry all over again. So that is the key to what I get, because my kids literally are not that hungry. And they're not that hungry. I mean, they're hungry. Obviously, they're boys. I have 4 boys. So you think, and they're growing. I have a 10-year-old who thinks that you would be eating all the time. But guess what? Because they're eating their vegetables, protein, and healthy fats, they're not hungry all the time. They have that, they're satiated. They don't have those ups and down mood swings there's no temper tantrums in my house unless it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't, it's like the communication issue, right? Because they're still learning to talk properly. But really, there's no temper tantrums. I'm taking care of 8 people in this house. I cook 90% of the meals. My mom helps me with the last 10%, and mother-in-law. So, but specifically, if I can do it and keep everybody satiated, I literally had one meal where I made them halva puri. And I literally made like the little puri, which is basically it's like fried bread with, with the delicious, sugary stuff with some chickpea, that's basically like a dessert or just like a delicacy, breakfast in India, Pakistan area. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this legit, And so I did little naans with lentil flour, chickpea flour, and tapioca. And I did the sweet thing with I crushed up almonds and walnuts, and I put it in a little bit of ghee with honey, and that's it, and a little bit of water. That was the halva, right? And they had chickpea. Guess what? I fed 10 people that day. My parents also came over, right? And nobody was hungry until we ate that probably at around 10 o'clock in the morning, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was hungry until the next day. Nobody. Why? Because of the fact that we are giving our body exactly what it needs. So you can still have fun and be healthy, right? I hope that answers some of your guys' questions. We also had this, I know the science is crazy. That's what I'm going right now, speaking all over the country about the science. Because food manufacturers really they're not there to watch out for our health. They're actually there to make money. So if they can make you, and they only make money if you eat more food. If you become a food addict, that's the only way. With, I know there's an entire group of physician moms that are fasting. And can you imagine the fasting? We're not making it. They're not making any money for them. So we're not going to, they're not making any money if we fast, right? And be healthy. Just like doctors, unfortunately, it's a very, very broken system, right? Where my husband has to see 28 patients. Like this last week, he got slapped on the wrist because he saw 98 patients in a week, in a 4.5 days. He saw 98 patients, but why didn't you see 110 patients? Unfortunately, we only get paid for how many people we see, not how many we keep healthy, which is very unfortunate. So let's go through those again, because I can keep on talking, because again, you can tell I'm a little passionate about this topic. So need zucchini bread recipe. Yes, my sister-in-law makes a delicious zucchini bread. I would love to cook healthy and buy the right stuff. The thing is, I don't know how or what to buy, especially how to cook it. So guess what, Yesenia? I have this amazing one. I have this book called The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. So that is the key. I have recipes in the back and it goes through everything that you need. Then we have also, if you subscribe to my newsletter, I gift you 25 recipes that you can use in your house that work in my crazy household, right? So I hope that helps. I know 25 recipes, it's all there, right? And then honestly, I'm literally sending out all these amazing tools. I'm not really selling anything. I'm really just sending out all these amazing tools because my goal in life is to making sure that you get back in charge of your own health and your family's health. So I've made these infographics, which I would love your guys' feedback on. If you've seen the infographics, please let me know how they are, because I really tried to create all these infographics on all these chronic illnesses to show people how easy and give them so much hope to help heal and prevent chronic illness in all ages. Then we have I hope that helped. Hina says, I made chocolate cupcakes with almond flour, chia, flax powder, and walnuts. No flour jam. I know! They're so delicious. They're so yummy. Okay, so any party that I have, I love this stuff. So any party that I have, I have, any party that I have, I go ahead and guess what? Right? I make these almond flour or these coconut flour, or because I'm like, I'm not going to feed anybody what I wouldn't eat, right? There's no junk, no artificial anything. So, and it goes by like this, right? It's crazy. So exciting. So then we have it's delicious, delicious, delicious. So is atta flour, wheat flour, or brown rice bad for your health too? So it depends on what you're dealing with. So it really depends on what you're dealing with. But as long as you my biggest concern is with when we add grains is that my family doesn't eat enough vegetables. So you need to make sure you are eating enough vegetables. So vegetables, protein, and healthy fats is key for every diet. And then I get people off of grains if they're having a lot of problems. And actually my kids are not on grains, and they, very blessed that they don't have issues. So let's see, what do working moms do when they have a little time on their hands? I completely get it. I'm a working mom. Right? I have a full-time job, full-time everything, taking care of 8 people. I completely understand. Like, I've been there, done that. So the best thing to do is cook on the weekends, batch cook. I love my oven. I love my slow cooker. Make lots, stick it in the oven, stick it in the slow cooker. When you get back, oh good, look, a meal's done. I bake all my stuff I will do multiple meals if I can stick it in the oven. That's the easiest, fastest way to do it, and you actually eat healthier. So, how do you subscribe? Oh, so the emails, you can, if you go to my website, www.holisticmommd.com, there's a gift there. There's a free gift for you guys. And that's my 25 recipes that are working in my house. So all those, I post stuff all the time. So it's on my Facebook feed. But it's really nice to have like a little recipe book. And that is on my website. So I hope that helps. And I have to get off soon. So isn't coconut flour high in fat? So remember, fat does not make you fat. Sugar, refined carbohydrates, all of that stuff is what makes you fat and raises your insulin level a lot higher than all these other things, which then leads to weight gain. So coconut flour is actually, because fat helps to satiate and actually stimulates leptin. What happens is that when you eat good fats, like healthy fats, like avocados, nuts and seeds, and nut butters and things like that, olives, right? It goes to your brain and says, you know what, I'm full. My kids will literally keep on eating if I don't give them fat. So you want to make sure that every meal has enough good fats to tell you to satiate it, that will then help to lower it all. What about quinoa? Yeah, if you have a cholesterol problem, it's actually not because of the fat. It's actually because you are something called insulin resistance or pre-diabetic. And for that, if you can just limit all your roti, your chawal, your rice, your bread, your pastas, then that will start to improve itself. That is what really leads to cholesterol issues, not the other way around. So your book really guided me with regards to adrenal fatigue issues. Oh, thank you so much, Zainab. So I thank you guys all for joining me today. I hear craziness going on upstairs. So guess what? Back to mama mode. Back to super mama mode. So I will talk to you guys later. And keep on asking me your questions. Please like and share this video so we can spread the message of hope and healing to all those that need it. And I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.